Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to the City of Concord Small Business Grant Program webinar. My name is Marie Vanson. I'm an Economic Development Specialist at the City of Concord. The COVID-19 shelter-in-place order has created significant financial impact on our local businesses. To help support businesses during this challenging time, the City of Concord has leveraged CARES Act funding to create the Small Business Grant Program and is partnering with the Greater Concord Chamber of Commerce for grant administration. In this webinar, the Greater Concord Chamber of Commerce will provide an overview of the Small Business Grant Program, explain the application process, and answer your questions. But first, a few housekeeping items. Everyone will be on mute. If you have questions, please answer them in the chat box. The Q&A portion will be monitored via chat and will be addressed upon the conclusion of the presentation. We also recommend that you keep your video in speaker view so that you can see the presentation clearly. Again, if you have questions, please enter them in the chat box to be answered during the Q&A portion at the end. And now I invite Kevin Cabral, President and CEO of the Greater Concord Chamber of Commerce, to get us started.
Thank you, Marie. We recognize that these funds will not make up for all of the financial loss experienced by our business community. We hope it provides some relief. Hopefully this slide deck will answer any questions you may have about the program. So let's get started. The City of Concord Small Business Grant Program is a one-time grant of $5,000 going to small businesses that have experienced a significant financial impact due to COVID-19. The application opens Monday, August 17th at 8 a.m. and closes Friday, August 21st at 5 p.m. So you have just 5 days to apply. Each grant recipient will receive a one-time grant of $5,000 that does not need to be paid back. The City of Concord will be issuing checks after all the required documents and signatures are received. The recipient business of each grant will be required to report how the funding was spent, including receipts. The following are activities that the recipient businesses are able to use the grant funds for: operating expenses such as rent and lease payments, utilities, and marketing; PPE and devices needed to enhance safety and protection for the business, employees, and customers. This may include masks, face shields, and thermometers, etc. Proper equipment and furnishings to establish outdoor operations and meet social distancing requirements such as curbside service, outdoor seating or retail offerings, and tents. To be eligible for this grant program, businesses must meet the requirements listed here. All of these requirements are also listed on the City of Concord's website: physical location within the Concord city limits, an active City of Concord business license issued no later than January 1st, 2020, so prior to that date, business has experienced 25% loss of revenue due to COVID-19 from April through June 2020 compared to the previous period, January through March 2020, or compared to the same period last year, which is April through June 2019. Additional eligibility includes no more than 25 employees as of March 1st, 2020, and is currently open or intends to reopen. There are examples of some businesses not eligible to receive the small business grant. These are also listed on the City of Concord's website. Some of the businesses not eligible for this grant include businesses with more than 25 employees as of March 1st, 2020, lending and investment institutions and insurance companies, businesses without a physical storefront within the city limits, and nonprofit organizations. Additional examples of businesses not eligible are franchise businesses that are not independently owned and operated within the City of Concord, franchises with more than 3 locations within the City of Concord limits, businesses without a valid City of Concord business license as of January 1st, 2020, and subcontractors under a primary business license, such as in a salon, and lastly, home-based businesses. Again, a more detailed list is available on the City of Concord's website. Funding priority will be given to the following: retail, restaurants, and personal service establishments as listed. Funding priority will be given to these 3 types of businesses who have not received federal assistance, such as the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or EIDL, or the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP. When can I apply? So now we have discussed who is eligible for the City of Concord Small Business Grant Program. Let's discuss what the application process looks like. The application link will become available through the City of Concord's website on Monday, August 17th at 8 a.m. Businesses will have until Friday, August 21st at 5 p.m. to complete the application and provide required documents. Applications will only be accepted through the online application during the designated window of time. That's important. You will be directed to an online application where each business will complete the form and upload the required documents that we will outline in a couple of minutes. Again, the time frame to apply is Monday, August 17th at 8 a.m. to Friday, August 21st at 5 p.m. After you submit your application, you will receive an email from grantprogram@concordchamber.com with confirmation of receipt of the completed application. Please keep this email for your records. This does not mean that you will receive the grant. This is just a confirmation email. There are 4 documents we require to complete the application process. Your active City of Concord business license issued prior to January 1st, 2020, the IRS Form W-9, and 2 monthly financial records, your profit and loss statement. The 2 required monthly financial records, your P&L, include monthly financial records for the 3 months ended June 2020, so that's April, May, and June 2020, and one of the following: monthly financial records for the previous period ending March 2020, which is January, February, and March 2020, or monthly financial records for the same period ending June 2019. So that's April, May, and June of 2019. The comparison from the current period's financials to the previous period or previous year's financials will indicate the 25% revenue lost as required to meet the eligibility. On the application, you will self-certify that the information is correct and that the grant funds will be used for the eligible activities outlined earlier in the presentation. The selection process will consist of an initial screening of qualified applicants based on priority criteria we discussed before, followed by a lottery should the number of qualified applications exceed the amount of funding available. The City of Concord and/or Concord Chamber of Commerce may request additional documents if necessary to verify that the business meets the program eligibility requirements. The lottery process. If more than 130 applicants meet the eligibility requirements, fall into a priority category, and did not receive federal assistance through the EIDL or PPP, a lottery will take place of those eligible to choose the 130 recipients. If less than 130 applicants meet the eligibility requirements, fall into a priority category, and did not receive federal assistance through the EIDL or PPP, the eligible applicants will receive the funding. The remainder of the 130 applicants who meet the eligibility requirements but are not priority will be placed into a lottery, and the remainder will be selected. Contact information. If you have questions regarding the Small Business Grant Program, please contact the Concord Chamber of Commerce at 925-685-1181 or email the Concord Chamber at grantprogram@concordchamber.com. If a business has questions and is Spanish speaking, there is a Spanish translator available via phone or email using the same contact information listed above. When the application is live on the website, please feel free to contact the Chamber for additional assistance. We're now going to open up the Q&A portion of the webinar. If you have additional comments or questions, please add them to the chat now. Melissa Ray from the Concord Chamber of Commerce will be asking questions that were put in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And to anyone who has questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat box, and we are sorting through them currently so we can provide as many answers as we can. Kevin, the first question is, can the funds cover PPE or other expenses already purchased?
No, this is to cover new purchases, and any normal operating expenses are eligible. For example, rent.
Great. Another question, are businesses that received PPP loans disqualified?
This doesn't disqualify the applicant, However, businesses that receive federal assistance in the form of a PPP or EIDL will not receive the priority status. So the first priority will people that did not receive any funding prior, and then the next category were businesses that hit a lot of other qualifications, but also received the PPP and EIDL early on in COVID.
Thank you. Excuse me while we finish sorting through these questions. You guys have some good questions coming out. Another question, Kevin, is what if the business did not open until October of last year? There are no comparisons for profit and loss.
So if they didn't open until October 2020 or 2019?
2019. I think I can answer this one. As
yeah,
long as you have
January,
a business license as of January 1st.
Yeah. But if the question's right that I'm reading, they're asking if if they didn't open until last year, they would need financial comparisons then from January, February, March 2020, and April, May, June 2020. Those are the financial comparisons they would need to show us.
And just to remind everyone also, all of this information is on the City of Concord's website. I'm going to put it in the chat now so you have the direct link towards it. Also, we do have FAQs listed onto the City of Concord's website. I'll put those as well that have some commonly asked questions that we received about this program. I'll put that in the chat as well, right under this. Okay. Kevin, is the number of employees defined as full-time, or is any employee irrespective of the number of hours worked?
It's not considered full-time. It's considered the amount of employees you have as of March 1st, 2020. It doesn't have to be FTEs. It's just the number of employees you have, including the owner of the business, can be counted as an employee.
Another question, who goes through the applications?
The chamber will go through the applications as they are received and categorizing them based on if they meet all the eligibility requirements.
Will just 130 businesses receive the grant in total, or there's no more?
For this grant, at this time, it will be 130 qualified businesses receiving the $5,000 each.
Is this webinar going to be archived? And yes, it is. We're recording it now. It'll live on the City of Concord's website, the same link that I put before. We will get this up within the next 24 hours for everyone to review. Sorry, we're still sorting through these. Are 501c6s excluded, or is it just 501c3s?
Nonprofits are not eligible. So if you're a nonprofit, if you're a 501c6, like which the chamber is, we are not eligible for this grant. Just small businesses with storefronts and under 25 employees and some of the other things listed below.
For businesses such as tattoo, nail salon, and massage, which are forced to close on March 16th, what financial statements are needed to submit, such as payroll, bank statements?
Yeah, you would need to submit a P&L as listed for priority. Excuse me, I want to make sure I go back to my notes so I know, so I get the correct answer. Let me go. Yeah, you would definitely need your P&L. Pardon me, I took this down, which I should have. You would need an active City of Concord business license issued no later than January 1st, 2020, a W-9, your IRS form, and then 2 financial statements, which are your P&L records. And the dates are on the Concord website, but I can give them to you one more time here. Monthly financial records, April, May, June 2020, and one of the following: financial records, January, February, March 2020, or monthly financials for the same period, April, May, June 2019. So P&L records are what we're looking for. If you need more detail or need to be talked through this, that's no problem. Just please contact us at the chamber and we'll get back to you and we can help you through that.
We've had a couple of questions regarding W-9s if your business does not have one. And for any business that has a federal ID number for tax purposes, you can actually go onto the IRS website and find the blank W-9 form, and you can fill it out yourself and print it. Highly recommend doing that so you have it for your records as well.
Yeah, you're going to need the W-9 if you get the grant, for receiving the grant.
Thank you, Amy Powell, for posting examples of a profit loss statement. That's definitely a good link for everyone to check out if you don't have one already created.
Where is that link? Melissa, I didn't hear that part. I'm sorry.
It's in the chat.
Okay. And again, we can assist some with that, but it's a pretty straightforward document. But if you need assistance, please reach out.
For someone that is a sole proprietor of their business, such as an esthetician, can we apply if we've received the PPP grant?
Yes, you can apply, but again, people that did not receive the PPP receive priority. But I recommend you apply. I would tell anybody that has had an EIDL or a PPP prior that you have all your docs already together and ready to go. So it behooves you to apply to this grant.
Thank you. Sorry, we're still sorting through the questions. I'm trying to make sure we get all of them in order.
some great questions. I mean, that's good.
Is this grant meant for only small businesses located in Concord, and what is the maximum amount of employees to be qualified for the grant?
The maximum amount of employees is 25, and yes, you have to be a business in the City of Concord with an active City of Concord business license, and you'll need other documentations, but that's pretty much a main requirement.
We've received a couple questions about deadlines to spend the funding. The deadline to spend the grant is December 30th, but the 130 recipients who receive the grant will have to report how they will spend the funds by December 1st. And again, we are requiring some reporting if you receive the grant on how you spent the money, and that includes receipts for all of those. So if you have receipts for payroll, rent, the listed items that are eligible for activity to use the grant spending on, you do have to report those. So December 30th to spend, but reporting is due by December 1st.
Yeah, and just a reminder, that's, you know, rent and lease, utility, payroll, inventory, technology, marketing, communications, also PPE equipment, and also furnishings and stuff to maybe help establish your business outdoors.
I bought the store in 2019, October, and from then I still use their point of sale up to March 2020. Can I use it as my financial requirement?
Yeah, if the financial records are for the business you're running. So if you have financial information for that business that you're running for that time period, yes, that should work out for that, no problem. That's what we're looking for. It's about the business. I saw a question about...
What if less than 100? Oh,
go ahead,
sorry,
Melissa.
go ahead, Kevin.
I saw a question about...
What if...
when the grant will be dispersed. Yep, the window will close on the 21st. We'll hopefully have the selection done somewhere around that week of the 24th. And then they're trying to disperse within 15 days of the recipient signing the grant agreement, which will be emailed back to the recipient. They'll need to sign a DocuSign document, send it back to us, and then that'll be the completion of the process. And then the checks will start to get cut. And it will be a check by mail. Is there more questions, Melissa?
Yep, I'm still sorting through them.
Sorry, there seems to be a lot of questions, so we just want to make sure that we're answering them all.
One question, are quarterly financials okay, or do they have to be monthly?
Well, you could, if you have a quarterly financial, it should be broken up into monthly inside that financial. If it's your final quarter, that would be something you would need to give me a call so I can look at it. But it should suffice. Your numbers are there. So we may need to talk offline and see if we can't get that in the document you're looking to put it in. Wow, there's a lot of questions coming through. And as a reminder, we'll be posting all of this information too, including the chat comments. So you'll be able to go back and reference it. Also on the City of Concord's website, there's some great FAQs, an FAQ page, and also the information about the program is on there as well, the program overview.
A question about where the application is available.
The application link will become available on the morning of the Monday, August 17th at 8 a.m. You'll link from the City of Concord's website, and then it will take you to an application form that's fairly straightforward. At that application site, you will be able to insert your documentation in there in the form of a PDF type file, and then also hit the box to say that you agree to everything, and then it gets sent into a secured location that's where we're going to sort them from. The application process, if you go through it, should take you anywhere, as long as you have your documentation kind of ready, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, 30 being the max. It's pretty straightforward. It was the intent of this program to make it fairly simple for people to apply for this grant.
This is a question about the priority categories that we discussed earlier. Say we own a salon business, which does fall into one of the priority business categories, but we did receive the EIDL loan, the economic injury disaster loan. Is our business prioritized in this case or no? So they are a priority category business, but they did receive funding.
Yes, they would. After we've gone through the program and priority folks that did not receive the EIDL or the PPP, let's just say 100 people were all priorities. They're retail, restaurant, personal service, and then they didn't receive EIDL or PPP help early in COVID. Then whatever was left, we'd go to the next layer, which would be businesses that meet some of the priority requirements, but maybe receive some funding earlier on in COVID. So that's why I encourage, if you have it, the documentation, take the 15 minutes and put your name in the hat. Because at some point, if there's a lot left, it goes to a lottery. So just know that the lottery could be a part of this as well.
In order to qualify, must you be a physical storefront in the City of Concord, such as an office, restaurant, street address, location, etc.?
Yes, you must be. You must have a storefront building. Yeah, a physical location in Concord that's not your home.
Is a medical office listed in your priority list?
Pardon me?
Is a medical office listed in your priority list?
Well, personal service establishment, I would consider that medical. So yes, that would be in the priority list according to the guideline.
Is there a detailed list of the priority list? I own a child care center, seems like a party. I will put the links again to the City of Concord's website that has a detailed list of everything, but also I will include a list a link for the FAQs that has some answers to these as well. And again, if you guys have specific questions that you need answered, I will put in the chat also the email that we ask that you send questions to. Will there be future grants like this?
That I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that the city's looking always for grant funding, I would assume, but I do not know the answer to that question. But I could find out. Email me at the chamber and I'll find out. I just appreciate the questions. As we work through this, we're hopeful that, this really helps out 130 businesses. And I know that's the City of Concord's intention as well.
We've had some questions about if you've received any monies before this grant program. All grants and loans for the businesses should be included in your financial statements for your reporting, but unemployment does not count.
That's correct.
The employee count is based on what date? Currently, I'm at 0 since I'm not allowed to open. Thomas, that date is March 1st. So the employee count is to be reported as of March 1st, 2020.
Did you see what what the mayor put in the chat? That if another CARES Funding Act's passed, it went off my screen. I don't see it.
Oh, what Kevin's referring to is Mayor Tim McGallion's also on this call to join us. And he put in the chat, if Congress passes the next CARES Act funding bill, there could be more money for small business grants.
Again,
another question regarding if there's less than 130 applicants qualify, will more be allocated to qualified businesses?
If less than a total 130 applicants, that's a discussion that will happen. I mean, 400 and something people signed up for this chat, 500 people signed up for this chat. If there's a point that we don't get 130 qualified applicants, that's something that we'll have to discuss with the city. So also that's why there's layers of priorities. So that's why we encourage you to apply. Excuse me. Are we getting through most of the questions, Melissa?
Yeah, still sorting through some of these last ones.
Yeah, I figure we'll wrap this up in a few minutes, and then also, like, we've put our contact information just to be courteous to people's time. Who decided the qualifications being top priority? That was done through an ad hoc committee through the city. There also is some guidelines around qualifying for the grant. It's in line. What did you say, Melissa? It's in line with other cities, but I think it's to deal with the grant.
How we chose who would be the priority, it's in line with other reports that we've received on who has been most affected industry-wise, and these top businesses
right.
Across the county have been most affected, whether it be retail, restaurants, personal services. And so Debbie, your question, what is the qualifications for being top priority? So being in those 3 business categories, retail, restaurant, personal services, as listed on the website, but also those who have not received any funding from federal assistance for this. So those are how the top priorities are chosen. Another question regarding GoFundMe money that was received, if it's for the business that is considered income.
Yes, you would need to report that. And all three, retail, restaurants, personal service establishments, are the top priority. I saw that question come across the chat. Again, all this information will remain live on this. You'll be able to link to this in our FAQ page, contact the chamber. There's all that information there. And we can help you through some of these questions if you still have questions. All right.
Again, I'm going to put our email in the chat one more time along with our phone number. If you have questions specifically that you would like us to answer, please either email us or call us. We will be here to help walk you through any questions you may have.
Okay. All right. And please, if you know any other small businesses, share this information with them. Let's try to get as much help we can out to our business community. We appreciate the great questions. What the City of Concord is doing for the small business community. And we look forward to working with all of you in the near future. So reach out to the chamber. We'll give you any kind of help we can. If you don't get a live person, please leave a voicemail. We are checking that on a regular basis and we'll be returning everybody's call. Okay? Thank you. Are we calling that a wrap, Melissa?
I think so. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Again, please give us a call if you have any questions.
Thank you. Appreciate it.